Okay, my camera works. How are we? Thanks for the resub, Mama Jama. And thanks a regular bite for the anniversary wishes. All right, so we're gonna put this stuff on top of this model. I've kind of left a little indentation around my green stuff to fit it right in, but I'll also let it spill out a little bit. I'm gonna be using super glue for this. Yeah, I think it's like white birch or something. But anyway, they're cute and I have a lot of them. I have both ones bought commercially and I have a bunch that Marika just scooped up out of her yard and sent me once. So I have lots of leaves. Lots of leaves. You can also, if you don't like the using the birch seed pods, you can also use like leaf cutouts. There's Green Stuff World sells a paper cutter. That's a tiny paper cutter that'll cut out different leaf shapes for you at the right scale. Alrighty. So we're going to kind of use this green stuff, since I kept that depression in there, we're going to use that as kind of a place to put our glue. Actually, I'm going to use this nozzle. I want to be a little more precise. So since Zap-A-Gaps comes with a nozzle, I'm going to put it on. Oh no, Crowley. Yeah, it's that season though, right? Where all the crap is going around. Alright, let's get this in here. You can see it go down the tubule. And I usually put a nice glob down, and then I'm going to grab one of my pokey tools. We'll just make a dragon head pokey tool today. I'm going to spread it with the pokey tool. Just like cleaning anything else, you can absolutely clean cured super glue off of your pokey tool. Just like wait for it to dry and then scrape it off with a knife. It's really easy. Alright. And then I can apply. I'm going to actually creep up a little bit of glue onto the green stuff here. Alright. And then we will put her in the container and we will heap stuff onto her. Now the first layer probably is going to be a little thin. Yep. So what I do then is I give it a second to set, and then I am going to be putting another layer on there. Although you can see kind of, it's a very natural looking. I'm going to just have it spill over the rock a little bit here. And I need to get this outer edge as well. Ah! Also I need to throw the model around apparently. Gonna glob a little bit more here. Gonna bring this out. I'm gonna pop it in there again. Grab a bunch of stuff and pour it on there. And because I'm putting everything on at once, the way it looks ends up being pretty random, which is also very natural. You get a lot of powder from the flocking, little bitty bit, like little green tiny flocking bits on there. You see them? Yeah, so you have to wipe or blow those off. So a couple of different, now that we're at a couple layers now, we're getting more bulk. I need to grab a pokey tool. Got a little bit of creep onto the leg. So I'm going to kind of pull that off. While it's still setting, you can absolutely kind of pull it off if it creeps up onto the model through a capillary action. You may have to touch it up. That's the downside of super glue, is it fixes it very, very quickly, and sometimes I find it's easier to mound it up. But it can also backfire on you when it wants to do that capillary creep up. Especially if you put on a lot at a time. But that's fine, because there we go. We've got the little NMM bit showing now, and a little bit of grass up next to her foot is not a bad thing. In fact, I'll put a little bit of an extra dab. So just a tiny bit more right next to the foot. And then I can be a little more targeted. I can grab it and then I can push it over onto the foot instead of putting it everywhere. There. There we go. It depends on what kind of plastic you have. Are you doing Games Workshop models? Are you doing Reaper Bones models, Mama Jama? Are you doing something like Animal Adventures? What kind of plastic, what brand are you dealing with? Reaper Bones? Usually I do not prime them. I actually wash them with soap and hot water and then let them dry overnight. Rinse them well and then let them dry overnight on a paper towel, and then I just paint them. If they are Bones USA, you can prime them, and I don't, but I'd recommend you do if you're not used to painting on bare plastic. I do wash the Bones USA. If I don't, I wash them no matter what, pretty much. Trying to think if we've got some, but like Bones Black and the regular Bones, they can react to some primers. Yeah, like Sir Gambit says, don't use rattle cans to prime them. You can use a brush-on primer through the airbrush, or you can just brush-on primer if you want to. I know I'm a weirdo in not priming, but I honestly find that I haven't needed to. However, if your models are going to get used in games and they're going to get handled a lot, then do prime. But as mentioned, don't use like a can. Don't use a solvent-based primer with the PVC, it'll react. Oh, crows. Yeah, you can also do the liner prime, which is to thin your liner with a little bit of matte medium or brush-on sealer and just apply that over the top of the bones. I would still wash them before you did that. All for games. Yeah, so yeah, you definitely want to prime then. And probably seal. Sealing doesn't matter. You can use a spray sealer afterwards because you've covered everything with paint, so it's not going to react. But with priming is wash, and then yeah, if you're using regular Bones Black is the gray, the darker gray material, then I would absolutely use a brush on or airbrushed primer layer then. You could also, I mean, if you don't have an airbrush, there we go. We've got a nice kind of organic little plot of grass on top of here. I think I might put a little bit underneath the cape here too. But yeah, so the biggest thing is just that you don't... Sorry, I got a distraction. There we go. The biggest thing is just that you don't use an aerosol primer over the top of raw bones. Yes, correct. And it's a mixture of 2 different static grasses, 2 different flockings, a dried herb mix that had died, so it had gone way too old, and so I just dumped it in there. So a little bit of sand and gravel, mostly sand for the fineness of it, and then the leaf pods. I think that's about it. Pretty much, if I have any extra like fine basing material twisted on, I just dump it in here. Like, if it's just, like, sitting around and I've just got a little bit left or something. Because every different type of basing material that I add to the tub makes it look better. And we aren't quite done yet. We're going to add a little bit more of the back, and then we're going to paint this. Dry brush it. Tap, 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 tap. So you see, we get that really fine flocking just clinging to the base, which is why usually I blow it off. Yeah, it's definitely an improvement. It looks like real natural grass. So she's on a little hillock covered in grass. We got a little bit of a leaf in there. I'm going to add more leaves now. I think I'm going to paint first though. So I want my... She is an autumn elf. So we want to maybe use... I'm going to use this light color that I mixed up for the base. Let's see, where's my fat brush? There it is. You want to make sure your super glue is all dry. And usually I want to do a light color on the grass. I actually will probably use creamy ivory. I like to use light, like yellowy colors for springtime. I tend to use more kind of duller colors for fall and winter. For winter, I definitely use an off-white to dry brush grass because it's so dead at that point in brown. Yeah, you can't just put spices in it. You definitely want to put some flocking and static grass in too. You need different kinds of things to make it look where it's just a one-stop basing shop. But it's great if you're doing armies or you're doing a lot of monsters or something and you just need a big, huge puddle of basing material to dip your minis in and have them look, consistent. So I'm not going to thin this at all. I'll grab a piece of paper towel over here, wipe most of the paint off of it. And then I'm going to dry brush over the top of this. It's going to pick up the static grass. And the leaves. The static grass is really what I'm trying to hit here. There's little strands of it everywhere, and it's shiny, so it looks wrong. So what I like to do is hit that static grass with a bit of paint. And honestly, dry brushing over the top of this, it'll make it a little more matte. And it also will put it in scale with the figure. So it looks better. It also highlights it. So if you try to paint, cover this stuff in paint, you're going to matte down a lot of the extra springy material. So I generally don't do that. If I want to have a darker patch of grass, I'll use a darker mixture that's just made of darker colors integrally. And then I'll paint over the top. I'll highlight over the top. There we go. Great. So now we can get our leaves. Thanks, Gloom. Yeah, any brush on primer. We can put away our mixture. And now, oh, I should have kept leaves out. I didn't keep any leaves out. No. Silly me. Oh, Kiki, it's just me. You hear me? No, it's not anybody outside, crap. Come on. It's not. You silly dog. It's not anybody outside. It's me fumbling around with Tupperware in here. Yes, there's no need to bark. There's no need to bork. Do you want to come up and see everybody? Yeah, would you like to? Here. Hey, Kiki. Hey. Boop. Kiki. Kiki, come on. Thanks. Come on up. Good girl. Yay. Good girl. Black Mama totally off from her camera. Yay. That's my good dog. That's my good dog. Yes. The kickers with the hugs. The hugs. Oh, I'm getting the lean. I have a big leany puppy here. So leany. Oh, the hugs. Yes, I love the hugs. Hugs are the best. Thank you for the hug. Thank you for the hug, Papa. Yes, thank you. Oh, yes. Hi, silly girl. Yes, my good girl. Yeah, good girl. All right, now you put your fur in my mouth, which is probably your whole tactic. Alrighty, you can come down. Good girl, yay! All right, Bubba, we gotta work. We're almost done, though. 15 minutes. 15 minutes to work, okay? Yeah. Yeah, you can trash, especially if it's getting a lot of use. With display models like I do, I never find it necessary. You might get a couple of tiny bits like that come off, but in general. But yeah, if you're doing anything like a terrain board, like using, which I have done, used a mix like this on a terrain board or something that's more playable, like a piece of terrain, then I would definitely coat it with white glue, because then the appearance is less important, and it's more important that it stays stuck. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of a balancing act there that determines which way I run with it. There are other chemicals in primers that that will act as a way to keep the primer on Sir Gambit. It's not all polyurethane. So just because you don't see a specific chemical, especially if there's kind of a backlash against that chemical where people are looking for things that don't have it, chances are the company has found something that will work, but that isn't that chemical. I mean, in the old days, it was ammonia. Ammonia was what they would use, or something very chemically similar. So I'm going to pick out some little leaves from my mix here. Because she does have a fall leaf motif. I want kind of a little one there. There. A bunch of little leaves here. Leaves. Yeah, if it takes a while to have that reaction. Yeah, vehicles and mecha are very much harder than humanoids, Mama Jama. I painted mechs a very, 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 very long time ago, and I haven't touched them since. Back when I painted them, I was just like, I was such a new painter, I was just like block coating them and lining them, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, I am not the person to get tips for mecha, that's for sure. Although a lot of it, I mean, to hear Glenn talk, who is a historical painter who does a lot of, he's a grandmaster IPMS, he did a lot of tanks and armor in the day. It's mostly about figuring out like what surface is up and which surface, how much light is falling off of the other surfaces, and like going darker as you go down. Like a lot of his basic painting is just figuring that out and painting the different angled planes of the model appropriately. And after that, it's all like weathering work. Which the weathering I can do. It's just the other stuff. And if you want to get a nice smooth base coat on them, then you're probably going to be using an airbrush. Yeah, exactly. Ammonia, yeah. Yep. Yeah, there's different chemicals that they use to have primers do their thing and stick to or etch the surface, depending on how they work. So, but yeah, if you are finding the model goes sticky about a week or a few days after priming it, it is definitely the primer reacting with the model. You're just it's taking a while to leach out some of those chemicals and create that sticky surface. So that is not a good primer to use on your bones. And it is the fault of the primer. It's both the fault of the material you're applying over it, you shouldn't have had that primer over, or the fault of the primer itself. Alright, so now we need leaves. And here, I'll be happy that I have my fine super glue nozzle, so I can place globs of super glue, or I can do it really easy. Probably the easiest way to do this, honestly. You have to do it fast so you don't have super glue drying all over your palette, but in my case, or you could use a piece of plastic art or something like that. But putting a dab of super glue, a big blob of super glue on here, and then using something like a pokey tool to pick up bits of that super glue, apply them right where you want the leaves. That's totally doable. You can actually use the underside of a base, for example, if we want to grab this base. It's an old Privateer press base. We could just do that here. We can just use that. That way we don't care if the super glue dries on it. Oh, we are never creepy. You know, that would be creepy, except that there are all sorts of, like, people creating things with, like, animal bones in them. Artists in arts and crafts. I suppose if you didn't know that... Oh, I need my tweezers again. Tweezers, tweezers, come here. It's actually hemostats. So, I need to grab a leaf. Get over here, leaf. The leaves are being much more recalcitrant since I took them out of their basing material. Okay, leaf. Leaf in tweezers. Pull this back. Pull this back. Ah! Grab glue. Blob of glue. Wherever you want the leaf. Leaf. Press. This is only if you really care about where your leaves are going. And then you can neatly place your leaves. And this guy, this little guy, can go right down here. But I want to put it underneath that grass tuft, I think. Yeah. There. And then we'll put another one right up here by the foot. Right in front of the foot, I think. In this blank spot. It's a good spot for a leaf. And grab leaf. There we go. Try to make them like not equal distant from each other. Make a little bit of variation. We'll put one on the back as well. And we'll figure out where to put the last one. Probably in the middle of the grass. Not much room back here, so I'll put a smaller leaf back here. Oh, he fell off. Now these guys are something that I might put some glue over the top to make sure that they stay on. Because we're using small dabs of glue to adhere them. So sometimes you could get in trouble that way. Or I might just put a little extra glue there to nail it down. And then I'll put the last one stuck in here, I think. And actually that is where I think I might just bring in my nozzle and just put a drop of glue in there. There. Last leaf. And sometimes it just does not want to go. The static grass. Keep it from being an obedient leaf. we get, due to that other piece of leaf litter, we were able to kind of put it up on its side, which I kind of like. There. I think that'll set. Yep. Yeah. Hey, D. Clearman, thank you for the resub 56 months. That's insane. So let's see, it's going to be 60 months is the 5-year anniversary, huh? You're almost there. You're almost at a 5-year anniversary. That's nuts. There we go. Get that leaf anchored in there. Okay, now we will paint them. We'll get some of our fall colors out. Hey, Ultra Squid. Yeah, we just got a 3D printer. Gosh, did we get it for Christmas last year, guys? I think we did. I think we got it. It was kind of like a Christmas present for ourselves. In fact, this is one that I 3D printed and started painting. Crystal Dragon. Crystal Dragon was one that I did. So, I like busts a lot, so I like that I can get extras. So I 3D printed this guy. I can get different busts if I go and do 3D print land, so. But yeah, so we don't do a lot of it, like, because it is, like, it's the, we essentially save up STLs that we want to do, and then my husband and I will spend, like, a weekend printing stuff. He tends to like using it for more basing materials, like for diorama stuff, and I actually like to print models on it. So I have a decent STL folder at this point. Stuff I'm kind of saving up to print next time we decide to print, because we just like to do it all at once. That way it's less individual mess and cleanup. All right, let us do. Where is my yellow? So, all right, we'll use some lantern yellow. Get our fire red out. Yeah. And then do our mixes. So we're going to use the colors that we used back here. I think I was actually using candlelight, though. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Reaper doesn't have Friday off, do they? Quindy? John? Whoever else is here? Oh, I need to get myself straightened out here. Alright. Put away our privateer press base. I thought it was normal this week, but probably, I mean, Christmas Day is going to be no streams, I imagine. And I may want to the 26th off as well, since David's parents will be leaving later that morning. Alright, I'm going to just mix I'm going to have wells of the candlelight yellow and the fire red. I'm just going to do some mixes and touch-ups. And we're going to kind of mix these colors together spontaneously on the leaves. I need a new paper towel to wipe off my pokey tools with. Oh, you're going off the store schedule, yes. Off the next 2 Mondays, right. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I will not be streaming this coming weekend as the in-laws will be in town. So, painting big stream will not happen on Saturday. However, it probably will happen the following week, because it'll just be the new year, and I won't have any relatives here. All right. So I have to think about where to put my highlights. I think I want a bit more red on the front, and I'll have a little spot of like orange down here to kind of play off of the leaves here. So I'm going to do some red and orange on these leaves. I'm going to mix my fire red with my candlelight yellow. I'm actually going to thin those a little bit first. Otherwise they're not going to stay wet long enough when I mix them. Okay, bye, Inara. Yeah, I do, because the parents are, the in-laws will still be here that morning, so we'll probably still have a nice breakfast with them. So yeah, thanks, Quindy. I'll take that. I'll take that day. I'm going to mix a little white into this, guys, because I want the leaves to be a little bit faded. I don't want to, you don't want to put a super ultra bright pop of color down here, because it's just going to be distracting. So I'm going to do orange, and that's going to help carry the color from her hair, and then I'm going to put some dabs of red on it. Blorfed a bit. Blorf. 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 Oh, we passed 500 copies a while ago, Mama. So it's, I actually haven't checked my KDP dashboard for over a week, but I was already like, I was doing pretty decently this month. I mean, it's still, things are still going to take a while to build because I only have 2 books out. So as I get the 3rd and 4th book out, things should pick up a little bit more and a little bit more, and you just keep writing until they take off. I was just reading, Twisted Oma knows that I'm rereading some of the Tony Hillerman Lee Pornin-Chi mysteries this last month or two, and I was reading, he's got an autobiography that he wrote, but he talks about like how long it took him to get a book that really like broke out and got like into the public eye, and I think it was book 7 or 8. Pretty sure actually it was book 8, because it was the second one where he put the 2 characters together in one book. And it finally like broke out, and he had quite a bit of success after that. But some people, you know, sometimes you have to write a lot of books, because some readers, they don't want to invest their time in you unless you have a lot of books to read. So I'm just doubling down on some additional red on these leaves. I'm going to keep this one yellow and orange. I think I'm going to bring that one up yellow and orange as well. This one back here needs to be coated mostly yellow, I think. But yeah, the book is mostly what's taking up a lot of, or the writing is mostly what takes me away from D&D these days. Because it's the same creative impulses. So we'll just put a little bit more red on this one. Want to get a little bit more fall color in it. There we go, and I'll make the outside some much more yellow. But yeah, well, I was already having a pretty decent month when I last looked at my dashboard, so hopefully it's good. And I just I went wide distribution instead of just Amazon. So now libraries can get my book and stuff like that, so that'll be fun too. Okay. No, I never ever, no, Slayer. I knew that I was just gonna dive bomb out of November. Like, I knew very early on. There were too many distractions and other stuff going on. I was trying so hard, because I'm trying so hard with the YouTube stuff right now and the Patreon, just to be really on it, and trying to coordinate it and all that, and I added extra weight, extra goals to my month. But I know, like, I knew before going in that December was going to be a total wash, because last year December was a total wash. Once the holidays start going, it's just a nope. But then I'm back on the writing in January, and we'll see how it goes. I also am learning a lot about my personal work process, which, you know, I didn't really have before, because the 2 previous books had already been written, and mostly I was rewriting them. But what I've come to realize is actually pretty interesting for me, because I never actually saw this before, and I should have seen it. But I have to nail, like, character. I have to know who my characters are. Like, I have to have a really, really good sense of them and what they want. If I have that, it doesn't matter if I don't have a plot. I just write it. Like, it doesn't write itself, but it's much easier. Sometimes it does write itself. Because then if you know your characters, and you know what they want, and you know the situation they're in, then you can just go, like, for me. And I should have spotted before that I was going to be a very character-oriented writer, but for some reason I just, never even thought about it. Given my strengths, I should have known. But what happened is that I was struggling so much with North of the Wind, and, like, you know, I was struggling a little bit with Rite of Winter, and then I was like, well, what's going on here? And so I sat down and I started, like, thinking about my main character, and I'm like, oh, this and that and the other thing, motivation, yada yada. And I knew that my motivation that I'd started out with didn't ring quite true. So once I had that, once I realized, like, oh, this is actually what the character needs, and he'll realize that eventually, you know, then now the book is going to be easy. I have to do a little bit more work on the villain. Oh, that's what I did at the start of the end of November, beginning of December have kind of been my take a breath moments, Twistonoma. Because I really loved the new year, and I love getting fresh starts in the new year, so if I'm going to take a break, I actually take it before the new year hits. Because I like using the new year as a catapult. And it works for me. There we go. We got some nice fall leaves on the base. They work with her hair. They're not too crazy. I feel like I could make them a little tighter. There we go, a little bit better. Yeah, Kiki knows I lied. But yeah, so it turns out for me it's all character, and I should just really just ignore plot and figure out my characters, because then I'll be fine. So now, knowing that, that's great, because that means that now when I have a block, when I'm trying to write through something, it's probably that I don't know my character well enough, or I haven't sat down and really figured out their motivation, or their motivation has changed. All this stuff you kind of figure out as a creative. I mean, with painting, it's the same thing. When you get blocked, it's going to probably be the same sorts of things every time you get blocked. So paying attention when you do get blocked, and when you eventually start painting again, paying attention to what gets you out of the block is the most valuable information you can possibly have. So when you do get blocked, use it as an educational moment and say, okay, how did I get here? Why don't I want to paint, right? What's keeping me from painting? And then when you work it through, like, make a note so that you can be like, okay, next time this happens, because it will happen again at some point. Next time this happens, I can tackle it better, right? I can actually have a clue. Oh, I hear Clicky Paws. I think Clicky Paws is about to get up and remind me. All right, but we finished it. Yay! Simple base. Very, very simple base. So the reds and oranges are just enough that her hair pops. That's nice. We didn't do too much on the back because we don't need much on the back. I think she turned out very nice. So she is officially a done, and I'll have to sign her before I hand her off to Ron. We just booked our pet sitter for ReaperCon, by the way. So assuming, actually, that's a good question. If ReaperCon is Labor Day, like, again, right? Because I couldn't actually find it online because it's, you know, it's so many months away right now. So I couldn't actually find the date online, but I kind of was assuming it would be Labor Day. Yeah. So, well, we'll have to change it if it's different. That's the sculpt, though. I got nothing I can do about that, Hatsune. Sometimes you just work in, like, unless you're going to do a conversion. Yeah, hopefully Labor Day. If they tell us in January, I still have time to change my pet sitter booking. But he gets booked really fast, so I had to move on it. But yeah, so, like, some models, like, it doesn't hurt as much. But yeah, some models are definitely have a weird arm position, so... It's just the way it is. It's the way it is. So, yep, she is finished. So, I don't know, tomorrow, will we maybe work on more basing? Or do I move past these guys and work on Ed? Oh, wait, Ed is more basing. More basing. Oh, noes, Papa. We're so basing all the time. I don't know if I have enough ideas about how I want to do Ed yet. So maybe we'll keep working on Angry Link, since we didn't give him any time today. Oh, we work, if you're not here a lot, my Majama, we work in a 6-model rotation. So we're not working on anything new now, it's just models, we're working on models that you wouldn't have seen. So these are 2 in the rotation. The next one is the Ed diorama that Tom Meyer did for Dark Sword that is part of Reaper now. I was working on, we've got a lot of NMM to do yet down here. And some highlighting on the red and everything. So, I don't know. I guess we can go to Ed tomorrow. Take a break on the basing. We'll take a break on the basing. We'll, Mellonir will just get put aside a bit. And we'll paint some NMM and just for differences' sake. And then I need to pick a new model, guys. Paint a new model, yeah. To take her place. But we won't get back around to that model until next week. So I need to figure out what we're going to paint there. Maybe we'll start that Dragonborn. Do you guys want to do the Christine Van Patten Dragonborn? That just was Mini of the Month for November. I can wash that model and get it ready. Yeah, we haven't done an animal person or a different race other than humanoid. Like, I mean, Dragonborn, I consider them more an animal race. But yeah. So we'll do that. But tomorrow it'll be Ed. Tomorrow will be Ed. We'll be making his skeleton buddies look a little nicer so that we can mount them on the base we got for them. And we'll figure out how we're going to do that. Oh, it's all tomorrow. It's all on every day of the week. Seriously? Every weekday, I am here on Reaper. Every weekday. I only stream on my own stream on Saturdays, and I won't be streaming this coming weekend because Christmas. I'll have relatives in town, so yeah. So every weekday, though, is all on this stream. It's always this time. Or earlier, since this is technically when we'd be done. But yeah, so it's always here. Yes, Saturday is my only stream day for myself. So I stream 6 days a week. I just mostly do it on Reaper. But yeah, so, and then then Saturday, this Saturday I'm not on. The following Saturday, the New Year's weekend, I will be on. So, alright, thanks everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks to our wonderful mods for controlling the stuff, keeping the trolls at bay. And yeah, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I am off to frenziedly rush around like a chicken with my head cut off again, because that's the way it runs. Alright, thanks guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.